The quiet of Dusty Bend at midnight was something Deputy Jacob Hale relied on. Most nights, he sat behind the scarred oak desk in the small jailhouse, listening to the ticking of the wall clock and the low hum of the oil lamp. The world felt predictable, orderly. Jacob liked orderly, but on this night, a sharp, frantic pounding shattered the stillness. He straightened immediately, hand resting on his holster as he moved toward the door. "Who's there?" he called. A woman's voice, breathless and trembling, answered, "Please, please, let me in." Jacob pulled open the door, lantern light spilling out onto the porch. Standing there in the cold moonlight was a woman wrapped in a worn shawl, her hair wind-tousled, her eyes wide with fear. "My name is Jessica Whitford," she whispered. I need help. I witnessed a crime." Jacob studied her carefully. Something about her didn't add up, not the way she flinched at every sound, nor the way her gaze darted around the street. But he stepped aside and gestured her in. "Start from the beginning," he said, closing the door behind her. Jessica, perched on the edge of the chair across from his desk, her hands trembled in her lap. "I saw a man get shot by the old mill road," she said softly, "and the killer, he saw me." Jacob felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Why come here alone? Why not alert the sheriff's office in Clearwater? Her lips parted, but she hesitated, because her voice faltered. "Because I didn't have time. I ran straight here." Jessica's story was too thin. Jacob had interrogated enough people to know when someone was hiding something. But fear like hers, that couldn't be faked. He poured her a cup of coffee and set it in front of her. "You're safe here," he said gently. "Nobody's getting to you tonight." Jessica wrapped her hands around the cup, as though absorbing its warmth. "Thank you," she murmured. "You don't know how much this means." Jacob leaned back, still watching her, still questioning. "I'll take your statement come morning. For now, you can rest here." She nodded, though her gaze flickered toward the window, toward the darkness outside. He noticed. "Easy," he said softly. "Whatever you're running from, it's not getting past me." Her breath hitched, and in that moment, Jessica realized just how dangerous the truth would be, not only for her, but for the deputy who had just promised to protect her. Jessica didn't sleep. She lay on the jailhouse cot Jacob had set up for her, staring at the ceiling while the lamp on his desk burned through the night. Jacob, for all his sternness, had chosen to sit across the room, instead of in his usual chair closer to her, closer to the door, for protection or suspicion. She wasn't sure which. Jacob's voice broke the silence. "You want to tell me what you're really hiding?" Jessica's heart lurched. She sat up slowly. "What do you mean?" "You didn't witness a murder," he said, calm but steady. "Your story has more holes than a barn roof. And that look in your eyes, it's fear, yes, but not of some killer lurking in the dark." Jessica pressed her lips together, fighting the rise of emotion. "I can't tell you," she whispered. "Not yet." "Then you're in more danger than you realize." Jessica turned her face away. "If I tell you, you'll arrest me." Jacob exhaled. "Only if I have to." The cot creaked as she shifted. "I'm not a criminal," she said softly. "I swear it." "Then help me understand." Jessica swallowed hard. Her secret had been heavy on her shoulders for months, and now it pressed down harder than ever. "Finally," she whispered, "I ran away." Jacob's brows lifted. "From my father." Jacob blinked. That was not what he expected. Why? Her hands clenched into fists on her lap. "Because he's not the man he pretends to be. He's mixed up with smugglers, dangerous men, I found out. And when I tried to leave, he locked me in my room. I escaped through the window." Her voice wavered. "He's going to send men after me." That fear Jacob sought made sense now. Jessica wasn't afraid of being a witness. She was afraid of being hunted. "And the murder?" he asked quietly. "I heard one of his men say they'd pin something on me if I didn't come back. That's why I panicked. I didn't know who to trust." Her eyes lifted to his. "So I ran to the first badge I saw." Jacob felt something shift in his chest. Sympathy, anger, on her behalf. and an unexpected protectiveness. "Why didn't you tell me from the start?" he asked. "Because I didn't know if you'd believe me." He leaned forward, voice steady. "Jessica, look at me." She did. "I believe you." Her breath trembled as relief washed over her. "Thank you," she whispered. But Jacob wasn't done. "If your father's sending men, they'll search every town from here to Clearwater. And they'll start at midnight." Jessica stiffened. "You think they're already coming?" Jacob stood, hand on his holster. "I think they're closer than you realize." Outside the window, a shadow moved. The jailhouse lantern flickered, as if sensing the shift in the air. Jessica's breath caught, fear tightening like a rope around her lungs. "Jacob," she whispered. "There's someone outside. I see them." His voice was low, steady calm in a storm. He moved toward the door with the silent confidence of a man who'd done this before. "Stay behind me." Jessica obeyed, her pulse racing. A heavy knock rattled the wooden door. "Open up, Deputy Hale," a rough voice barked. "Got business with you." Jacob didn't move. "Dusty Ben's asleep. Unless it's life or death, your business can wait till morning." "It's life or death, all right," the man growled. "We're looking for a runaway girl. Seen her?" Jessica clasped her hands over her mouth. Her body trembled. Jacob spoke smoothly. "No passerby tonight." "Funny thing," the voice outside sneered. "Tracks lead right to this doorstep." Jessica's heart stopped. Jacob stepped closer to the door. "You accusing a sworn deputy of lying." A pause, then the unmistakable metallic click of a gun being cocked. Jessica gasped. Jacob grabbed her hand and pulled her behind the desk. "Down," he whispered. The voice outside roared. "Open the door, Hale, or we'll break it down." Jacob clenched his jaw. He whispered to Jessica, "Do you trust me?" "Yes," she breathed. "Good. Stay low. Follow my lead." He reached for the rifle, propped against the wall, and chambered around with swift, practiced ease. Then he called out, "This is a lawful office of the county. Any man who tries to force his way in will be shot." A murmur of anger rose from outside. More than one voice. 3, 4. Jessica swallowed hard. "There's too many." Jacob cast her a quick, reassuring look. "They want you alive. That gives us the advantage." Suddenly, a crash shattered the night as the door burst open. 4 rough-looking men stormed inside. Jessica screamed. Jacob fired a warning shot that hit the floorboards inches from their boots. Next one's not a warning. The men froze. One stepped forward, the leader, broad, scarred, and holding a coil of rope. "Hand her over," he demanded. "She belongs to Mr. Whitford." Jessica found her voice. "I'm not property." Jacob raised his rifle. "She's under my protection." The leader snorted. "Deputy, you're outnumbered." Jacob smirked. "Funny how you think that matters." From behind his desk, he pushed Jessica gently toward the back cell. "Go." She hesitated. "Jacob, go." She ran into the cell, and he slammed the iron door shut not to trap her, but to shield her from danger. She watched through the bars, heart thundering. The standoff grew hotter. "You can't protect her forever," the leader growled. "I don't need forever," Jacob said. "Just long enough to end this." And with that, the jailhouse erupted into chaos. Gunfire echoed in the small jailhouse, ricocheting off iron bars and wooden beams. Jessica crouched in the cell, hands over her ears, tears streaming down her cheeks, as she watched Jacob fight for both of their lives. Jacob moved with precision rifle first, then hand to his revolver when a man rushed him from the side. A swift punch, a quick block, a kick that sent a chair skidding across the floor. He fought like a man with something to lose. Jessica. He met each attacker with a fierce determination she had never seen before. But there were too many. A fist slammed into Jacob's ribs. Another man grabbed his arm. They pinned him against the desk. "Hold him," the leader snarled, raising the butt of his gun. "No," Jessica screamed. Something inside her snapped. She kicked open the unlocked back cell. Jacob had left it cracked on purpose, trusting she'd know when to run. Instead, she ran toward the danger. With trembling hands, she grabbed the nearest object, the deputy's heavy law book, and hurled it at the leader. It collided with his face with a loud crack. He stumbled. The distraction was all Jacob needed. He twisted free, throwing one man into another before lunging toward Jessica. "You're supposed to be hiding," he shouted, breathless. "I'm not leaving you," she shouted back. Their eyes met, fear, adrenaline, something deeper flickering between them. No more running, no more lies. Together, they pushed forward. Jessica grabbed the dropped rope and swung it at another attacker. Jacob, fueled by a renewed spark, took down the last one with a hard punch. "Mint," he growled. One by one, the men fell, groaning on the floor, but alive. When the fighting finally stopped, the jailhouse was a mess: broken chairs, scattered papers, bullet holes in the wall. Jacob panted heavily, bruised and bleeding. Jessica's shawl was torn, her hair wild, but they were both standing. Jacob turned to her. "Jessica, you could have been killed." She stepped closer, voice trembling. "So could you." He exhaled shakily. "Why did you come out?" She bit her lip. "Because you believed in me when no one else would. Because you fought for me. Because," her voice softened, "because I care about you." Jacob froze. Jessica felt exposed, vulnerable, but it was too late to take it back. He brushed a thumb over her cheek, wiping away a tear. "Jessica," he murmured, "I care about you too, more than I should." Their breaths mingled. The world outside was still and silent, and for a moment, the only danger was how close they were standing. But before she could speak, footsteps echoed outside. Jacob grabbed her hand. "Come on. We're ending this tonight." "Ending it? How?" "By facing your father." Jessica stiffened. "Jacob, he's dangerous." "So am I," Jacob said quietly. "When it comes to protecting you," and with that, they stepped into the night together. Jacob and Jessica rode out before sunrise, the cold morning wind biting at their faces as Dusty Bend faded behind them. The trail to the Whitford estate stretched miles ahead, winding through hills still cloaked in shadow. Jessica's hands shook on the reins. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. Jacob glanced over. "I'm sure about you." "That's enough." Her heart squeezed. No one had ever spoken of her with such faith. By the time they reached the Whitford ranch, dawn had broken. Sunlight washed gold over the sprawling property. 2 guards stood at the gate, rifles slung over their shoulders. Jacob dismounted first, posture tall and unyielding. "Deputy Hale," he announced. "I'm here to speak with Mr. Whitford." The guards exchanged uncertain looks. Then one nodded and led them inside. Jessica's stomach twisted as they entered the grand parlor. Her father stood there, stern, powerful, and furious. "Jessica," his voice dripped with false concern, "you gave us quite the scare." She stepped closer to Jacob instinctively. "Stop pretending," she said. "I know everything. The smuggling, the threats. All of it." Whitford's eyes darkened. "You think a small-town deputy can protect you? He doesn't understand the world I deal in." Jacob stepped forward. "I understand enough. Enough to put you and your men behind bars." Whitford laughed, a cold, echoing sound. "You're out of your depth, boy." Jessica's fear flared, but Jacob remained calm. "You sent armed men after your own daughter," Jacob said. "That tells me everything." Whitford's mask slipped. "I gave her everything," he hissed. "And she repaid me with disobedience." Jessica lifted her chin. "I repaid you with the truth." Jacob squeezed her hand, grounding her. A long, tense silence stretched between them. Finally, Whitford signaled to his guards. "Take her. She needs correction." Jacob stepped in front of her, voice firm. "She's under my protection. And I've already alerted the Clearwater sheriff about your little operation." This time, Whitford's eyes widened. Jacob pressed on. "He'll be here in 20 minutes, with warrants." Whitford scanned the room, realizing for the first time that he was trapped. Jessica saw fear flicker behind his cold exterior. "You can come quietly," Jacob said, "or you can make this worse." Whitford straightened, trying to salvage dignity. "This isn't over." "Oh," Jessica said softly. "It is." Moments later, the guards lowered their weapons. Whitford was escorted away by arriving lawmen, while Jacob stayed by Jessica's side, never letting go of her hand. When the ranch finally quieted, Jessica exhaled shakily. It's over, she whispered. Jacob turned to her, gaze softening. You're safe now. She stepped closer. Because of you. He brushed a hand across her cheek. I'd do it again. Every time. Jessica's breath hitched. Jacob. He leaned in, his forehead touching hers. You're brave. You're strong. And, Jessica. His voice dropped. I'm falling for you. Her heart soared. She lifted her face to his. Their kiss was slow, certain, built on trust, forged in danger, and a bond carved in the fire of the night before. When they finally pulled apart, Jacob whispered, Stay in Dusty Bend with me. Jessica smiled through happy tears. I'd like that. The sunrise bathed them in gold, sealing a promise neither of them needed to speak aloud. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.